Hello everybody, this will be a tutorial on a step-to-step guide of using Market Cipher B to identify divergences. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys learned something new from this video. Plus feel free to check out my other Market Cipher B or Market Cipher in general playlist in my playlist section. I think those videos will come of great use to beginners and other intermediate traders and even advanced traders. So I have videos of all kinds, so feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, with a divergence, what it is basically an imbalance between buyers and sellers, and typically price likes to correct based on those buying and selling order differences. So that's really the technical economic side to it. Really, the trading side of it comes down to identifying regular divergences. And so I suggest you trade this cheat sheet. Just Google divergences sheet, and it'll just give you a guide of divergences. Now, as a beginner, I recommend just memorizing what a regular divergence is, both bearish and bullish. And so typically a divergence is a difference between what the price is doing. So price up here, I like to use blue and purple candles compared to the standard green and red candles. And then down here we have our oscillator or Market Cipher B. And so price, it will do something different between the two. So for example, right here, if we just put a vertical line right here and then a vertical line right here, you can see that if we draw a simple trend line right here, you can see that price is increasing. It's going up, right? Going up 2% here. And then if we compare it down and look at Market Cipher B, you can see that our momentum is coming down. The blue waves right here, right, is coming down over time, and price is making higher highs. This means there must be a correction or an imbalance. And so indeed, if you were to enter the short here, nice 5.7% move. And so what this was a bearish divergence, regular bearish divergence, where we have price making higher highs and a momentum indicator, Market Cipher B, was making lower lows. So that was an example. Again, what I can do is turn off everything, and we're just going to go step by step and identify a good divergence using Market Cipher B. So I'm just going to turn off a lot of things here, so bear with me. I'm going to turn off RSIs. And so if I just keep on the blue wave and the light white wave, you can see that we were getting a divergence between the two momentum and price. And so that's the first thing you want to look for. Again, another good example that I found was a price making higher highs right here. And then our momentum is coming down over time. Another thing you can look at too was another bearish div, as price was again making higher highs and momentum was still coming down over time. So that's the first thing you want to look for on Market Cipher B, is really a divergence of the momentum waves going down on a bearish divergence. And so I'm just going to delete that. Next thing you want to look for on Market Cipher B is looking at the Moneyflow indicator. So I'm going to turn on Moneyflow like so. And really, we're just going to add another step. So again, we have our bearish divergence. And the next thing you want to look for is the Moneyflow based on the blue. I change my colors around. Usually it's green when it's positive. But with Moneyflow, you want to look in the direction of the trade you want. So for a short trade, you want to see Moneyflow going down over time. And here, you can't really see it too well, but you can see Moneyflow is coming down. Another thing you can do is if you select the drop down in the indicator and just hover over a point A, so the start of the divergence like that. I'm going to put a vertical line over each one of them. So if I hover my mouse over the start of the divergence like that, and if you read the Moneyflow setting in Market Cipher B, you can see we're getting a reading of Moneyflow of 27.85. And then if we look at the end of the divergence, you can see this wasn't really a good example, but you can see the money flow was kind of going down, was 28.28. That's not really a good example, so never mind that. I'll just look at this one. Sorry to confuse you guys, but again, we were getting higher highs. Momentum was coming down. And then at the start of divergence, we can see we were getting a money flow reading of 22.33. I wish I could kind of hover my mouse over that, but it's the third reading that I'm looking at of values. And then I'll look at the end of the divergence, and you can see money flow is going down greatly, as shown in the indicator right here. But just reading the actual value, you can see the money flow went down to a reading of 5.93. So again, this just adds extra confluence to a divergence, and it's what you want to be looking for when identifying a divergence on Market Cipher B, as the money flow would add extra power and value to the divergence. And you can see price went down a 4.93. And you can see when we didn't really have a good money flow divergence here, like in this example as shown, price only went down 1%, so it wasn't really that powerful of a move. So the next thing you want to look for extra confirmation, again, momentum and money flow are two very good confirmations to have hand in hand. But another thing you can look at is the RSIs on the indicator of Market Cipher B. So I'm going to turn on the RSI and the stochastic RSI. And with this, what you want to be looking for is the two RSIs coming close together. So I'm going to put up the indicator, and here's our divergence. And you can see that the RSIs are coming and joining as one. They're looking like they're a one indicate or one line really. And right here, it didn't really happen that time, but you can see the RSIs were pretty closely together, closely together. Again, with the RSIs, you don't want to see them split largely apart, like right here. You can see the RSIs were split and spread very far apart, and therefore it kind of took away from the move. But the RSIs are an extra confirmation of entering a trade, as I delete all my lines right here. Another thing too, when looking at what time frame you want to trade as a beginner, you want to look for those 1 hour divs, as they are very, very powerful. If you have a little bit more time on your hands, you can look at the half an hour time frame or the 24-minute if you have a paid version of TradingView. And so these will be very powerful over time. You can probably get a good 3 to 4 trades a week. That would be a very good way to profits. Again, it's a slow way of trading, but as a trader, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Yes, you can make a lot of money quickly, but I don't recommend doing it, as most traders, beginner traders, 95% to be exact, lose money trading in beginning. So Market Cipher B is a great indicator, one of the best indicators out there, and you can make good money using the divergences on Market Cipher B. Now lastly, just an extra layer of confluence to add to Market Cipher B divergences is that you can turn on the VWAP, which stands for volume weighted average price. And again, we can look at divergences over time of the VWAP. This one isn't too clear, but you can see that the VWAP was kind of coming down over time with the divergence relating to price. And so that can give you an extra layer of confluence. Again, right here, You can see that the VWAP was kind of coming down. Again, don't think too much into this as a beginner. Just look at the momentum waves and Moneyflow. That will do you pretty well. So Moneyflow is very powerful on market Cipher B. Next, we'll look at bullish regular divergences. And bullish divergences is when price is making lower lows, and then our oscillator is kind of doing the opposite. It's making higher lows. And so again, I'm looking on the 1 hour time frame when doing this. Again, we can start over and just kind of go step by step of what is happening. So I'm going to turn off the VWAP, RSI, and Moneyflow, and we're just going to look at the momentum waves, the two momentum waves. And so if I draw a trend line, you can see that price was making lower lows right here. And then we have our momentum indicator on market Cipher B making higher lows. And so that is a good divergence, and really here would have been a nice 13% move based on the 1 hour time frame of divergences. Again, the half an hour time frame and 1 hour time frame is what I recommend for beginners starting off. Yes, you won't get as many trades and you won't be in constant trades, but at the same time, you will be winning trades, so you'll be making money over time. And remember, this is a marathon and not a sprint, and trading takes a lot of patience. I think that's really what the common mistake for beginner traders, how they lose money. Next, we'll turn on the Moneyflow. And again, in Moneyflow, a general rule of thumb is that you want to see money flow increasing in the direction, going in the direction that you want price to. So in this case, for longs, you want to see money flow coming up. So if we hover over the beginning of the divergence, you can see we're getting a money flow value of negative 13.79. And then at the end of the divergence, if I hover my mouse over this, again, money flow wasn't really increasing, so this is not really a good example. I'll show you another example that shows money flow increasing. But generally, you want to see money flow coming up with the asset price. And so I'm going to next turn on the RSIs and see what the RSIs were doing. Again, you can see the RSIs were clumped together. So again, they were all kind of looking like there were one RSI. So that is a good confirmation to have. Next, we'll turn on the VWAP. And here you can see the VWAP was coming up over time, kind of. Don't get like too caught up in the VWAP. This is more kind of advanced. Don't think too much of the VWAP, but again, it's just another advanced confirmation to really be looking at. Next, we can go over and look at another example that I have highlighted here. Again, right here, you can see that price was coming down, making lower lows as market Cipher B was coming up. The momentum was coming up. Here, you can see that money flow was coming up over time too. You can see in the positive, coming up over time. However, the RSIs were kind of split apart, but really the money flow was increasing or going in the direction you want it to have. Here is a nice 1 hour bullish divergence that I found where we had price making lower lows, and then our momentum indicator on market Cipher B was making higher lows. And so you can see that is a clear divergence of momentum and price. Next thing you can look for, again, I like to put vertical lines over each of the point A to point B of the divergence. And then I like to, again, go to the drop down and then look over the money flow of point A to point B of the divergence. And with this, remember, we want to see money flow coming up as it is the direction we want it to, because we are like entering a long position. And so reading this, we're getting a value of negative 17.91. And then right here, you can see Moneyflow did come up as it read a value of a negative 14.76. Also, just another thing to look for too is that with our RSIs, they were relatively together. So that was an extra layer of confirmation for this long trade. And as you can see, if we zoom out right here, we would have had a pretty nice long position, a good 6% move. So very good profits for a beginner. Now let's go over what we learned in this video. I know as a beginner, this can be really a lot at you and it can get quite confusing. So I'm just going to write down a step-by-step guide for you. I'll leave this a link in the description. Feel free to grab a pen and paper and just kind of write this down as just quick notes from today's video. And again, I encourage you to go out on the Google and find this divergence cheat sheet. Brought to you in part by New Trader U. This is a very good guide to really be looking at and just kind of memorize, as this is the bread and butter to your trading career. So again, just for now, just memorize the bullish and bearish regular divergences. Just memorize this pattern. And so again, for a divergences, bullish div is a price decreasing as momentum is increasing. So again, looking at the momentum and price. Again, the second thing you really want to look for extra confirmation to make the move much more powerful is money flow is going in the direction you want. Price, simply it's increasing. And again, with RSIs, you want to see forming as 1. Again, this is not as important, but I'll say these first two are very important. You kind of want them going side by side. So I'm just going to put in note that these two are important, and I'll number these. Why not? Make it more organized. And then fourth, VWAP Divergence. Not as important. Don't really get confused with the VWAP. Don't really look at it too much as a beginner. Really just the momentum and money flow is really the two things you want to be looking at with this. So I'll name this Bullish Divergences. This is for Bullish Divergences. Next, we'll go down and look at Bearish Divergences, and really it's kind of the same thing. So let me type this out, Bearish Divergences. And step 1 to looking at a Bearish Divergences is Bearish div is price is increasing as momentum is decreasing. And again, this is important. Step 2, again, is looking at the money flow. So money flow is going in the direction, I type right now, you want price, but you want to see it decreasing. And this is also important. This adds a lot of power to the divergence. As you can see, when we were looking at examples, it added like 4 times the amount of power to it. And then third, again, not as important, but RSI forming as 1. And then our fourth, which you don't really have to worry about. I don't really know why I mentioned it in this video, but again, it's just extra layer confirmation, RSI divergence. And again, this is not as important. So I'll leave this as a description in the description of this video. And feel free to check out a Discord along with my other playlist on my YouTube channel going over Market Cipher B, the strategies I have to it, and also just other trading basics that should help out you, all for free. So feel free to check those out. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Plus, I'll leave this in a playlist of Learning Market Cipher B. So thanks. Bye.